or, it's kind of just the sign of the times, but I'm glad that I'm able to connect with so many of you as I'm new to Daniel's Run. And, this transition is difficult, for some children and myself at times too. But, my goal is just to continue to take on this role as your child's teacher and really carry over as much of the routines and keep a lot of similarities from when or from what they're used to from the beginning of the year, and just really try to ease everyone through this transition. I know there's been so much change over the past few years for parents and students and schools in general. So I would just like to ease a lot of that stress and anxiety, and just really provide just good relationships with your children and overall instruction. So if you haven't had the chance, I know I had made up a PDF and we had sent it out. If you haven't had the chance to look that over, I'll just quickly go through a little bit of my background just so you can know me a little bit better. But I moved here from New York in the fall. Back in New York, I spent 4 years at an inclusive preschool where I taught children with IEPs and general ed students. So I have a little bit of background with that. And then I most recently was in a 3rd grade class back in New York that I'm already seeing a lot of similarities with, and with Daniel's Run, which is great. I think that's really important for me as a professional too, to make those connections. But I loved 3rd grade when I was there in New York, and I'm very excited that this opportunity presented itself so I could continue to work with 3rd graders. So that's a little bit about my, I guess, professional background. But I wrote down a couple very general talking points just that I thought, of through my own head, and that I would have thought that some parents might have as well, as just about this transition. So forgive me if it sounds like I'm reading off a script. I just jotted things down so it wouldn't escape my head. But again, I'm really continuing to get to know the class, and as they're getting to know me as well. I'm going to continue to take some time. I know there's only a couple days this week, and next week's kind of a funky week, but I really want the class to feel comfortable with me and ask their questions and really get to know me as I get to know them. We joke that I promised them by the end of the week I would know at least like 80% of their names, and it's hard sometimes with the masks. And but they're very flexible and understanding, and they're great about correcting me if I mispronounce their name or get something wrong. They're very on top of it, so I'm thankful that they're such good helpers. I was able to observe, like I had mentioned, this week with Mrs. Mancuso, just to see the daily routines and get an idea of what the kids were used to as far as her instructional style. So my goal is to really keep consistency and aim for a generally smooth transition. But as we kind of preface to the students too, that, I'm not going to 100% imitate and mirror what they've been used to. However, I'm going to try to, again, keep as much consistency. But overall, there might be a little bit of my own teaching background and teaching strategies and classroom management that will come through. But again, I overall, I want kids to feel like I'm not coming in and throwing a wrench in their school experience. So I just want them to feel like they can be comfortable with me and come to me with anything. And I know it's a tricky transition coming back from break and having the extra week off, but I want them to feel like they can come to me, and I will be with them for the rest of the year. So I'm sure we'll continue to learn about each other throughout the next few weeks. Off of that, I also understand the importance of not only my relationship with each and every one of your children, but also the connection between school and home. And that's something that I have always felt very strongly about as far as communications with families. In the past, I've used various platforms for communication. I'm still navigating Schoology as far as, posting updates and uploading assignments and just like pictures and in the folder. So bear with me while I figure that out, but I promise I'm going to continue to use that. I know that's what has been used from the school year. So I will continue to use that. And I will also continue to do the week at a glance, similar to what I've done in the past, just sending that weekly email to keep you guys in the loop. And if there's any questions that come up or concerns, or if your child misses something and needs me to help walk through that, I will be more than happy to do that. So with that being said, I try to use my email frequently. So my goal is to always respond within that 24-hour period with any information. If it is something that I don't have the answer to right away, I will definitely reach out to resources to help and get you an answer as quick as possible. I see. And as far as assignments, I'm still working with the team. I know I have a great bunch of resourceful people on the third grade team, and with math and language arts coaches. So I feel confident that, they'll help me with this transition. And I aim to give really thoughtful and meaningful feedback on assignments, whether that's formal or informal. In the classroom, I will give students feedback on their work as they're going through the process. And then once we're finished, I will do my best to send assignments home, in Thursday folders, give my feedback, and then allow you guys to go over it, ask any questions, any concerns that you might have, and do my best to explain the work and the feedback that I provide. So that's kind of my general overview of how I want to continue with teaching for the rest of the school year. So again, I know that I'm in such a great hands with all the staff and administration. So I'm very confident that we'll have a good rest of the year, and I'm excited to continue to get to know your children, and then also have those connections with all the families as well. So I think that's all my points that I wrote down. I know I kind of went through that probably a little out of order, but.
Thank you, Ms. Donella. I will add two things. One on grading, that Mr. Parker and Mrs. Groover and Mrs. Bradley are going to work along with Ms. Donella to work on grades. So they're still supporting her. They're going to be in the class for the next 3 weeks, and then we're going to reevaluate in 3 weeks if we need to pull back of any of the in-class support, not necessarily the planning support, but our goal has been to team teach, and hopefully, certainly we have confidence that Allison will be able to take over. But we want to make sure she's set up for success and the kids are set up for success. So that's the only two things I had to add. So if you have some questions, you can raise your hand or put them in the chat. Jeff, go ahead.
What support do you need from us?
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you so much for asking. I was so funny. I was talking to, some of the team members earlier today, and I've heard such great things about just the community as a whole in this class, and the support that you guys have provided so far throughout the school year. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was the one thing I forgot to put in my notes to talk about. I'm going to send out a new Sign Up Genius for Thursday folders. Obviously tomorrow being Thursday, I'm just going to get all that together and send it out. But I would love, if you have an available Thursday to sign up for. I know students really like to have those connections and see parents and familiar faces in the classroom. And I think that's, again, that whole school home connection is so important. So I would definitely appreciate that. As far as, the supplies that you guys have provided, it's been amazing. And I'll have to kind of look through and see what we have and what we need. But I mean, that's been phenomenal. And I obviously appreciate coming into a classroom where that has already had a platform set. So, but yeah, I think, as far as support from you guys, like I've mentioned, my goal is to just really ease through this transition. I know it might take a little bit of patience and time to do so, but I guess my main ask would be to just, throughout this time, any suggestions that you have or anything that I might be doing differently that might be impacting your child in a certain way, positive or negative, or suggestions, or anything, any concerns that you have. I would love for you guys to feel like you can reach out with anything. I think I would, even if it's not positive feedback, if there's constructive criticism, I'm all ears for it. I want to work with you and provide your children with the most success, and especially since we're like halfway through the school year at this point. So, but yeah, again, I will send out that sign up for Thursday folders, but I think based on what, Becky's told me, you guys have been so phenomenal. And I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but if I do, I will definitely shoot it out in an email or post it on Schoology.
Hi, Allison. So I have another question. I think that, in the time, well, for our son at least, he was virtual the entire year last year, and then started off this year, trying to re-engage and be back in the classroom, and then started with Miss Mancuso early on, and then now that's transitioning to you. But I think, with all the disruptions they've had, I'm wondering if maybe all the kids have kind of gotten on slightly different levels. And so I'm wondering if you have a way that you're thinking of maybe doing some type of assessments to see what they're, kind of where they are and what their needs are and where they're kind of placed maybe at this point.
I can start with that, in that for language arts, right? Mr. Parker and Miss Groover have basically been teaching that class now for the last couple months. So we're giving all that information to Allison. Same with math with Mrs. Bradley. We are doing another round of math assessment on the iReady coming up over the next few weeks, which was the main assessment that we were focused on at the beginning of the year to measure where they were math-wise. We are not giving it. We gave everybody a DRA at the beginning of the year. That's a reading assessment. We're not doing that at mid-year unless they're being pulled for an intervention group. And part of that is it's a pretty timely, lengthy assessment, and we want to make sure we're giving teachers time for instruction. But they will get another DRA at the end of the year. But teachers are doing informal assessments for reading as well. So that's kind of the broad overview. Allison, I don't know if you've had a chance yet to think about assessments yet, but feel free to chime in.
Yeah, so I, spent the last 2 days observing, and then today I was more hands-on. I taught the language arts and some of the health lesson that we did today, and then Mrs. Bradley came in and did the math lesson for my class. But I haven't, had as much time as I would have wanted to really take time to digest and think about some of those formal assessments. But again, I have such great resources, and I'm planning on meeting with Mr. Parker and next week during some of those days that we have time as a staff, and planning out what the next few weeks are going to look like. And that's probably when I'll start to brainstorm and plan out some more of those assessments. But I know Mr. Smith just talked more about the formal and the like the diagnostic part. But as I go through that and figure out more of what I feel is the best way to assess and areas that I want to assess, then I will definitely pass that information along. And again, any concerns or ideas that you may have, I'm all ears on that too.
All right, next question. Well, there's not any more questions. Of course, you can always reach out to Miss Donella. I know last time we met in December, questions came up about meeting to have more specific conferences about your individual student. And again, certainly you can do that. We just want to give her a little bit of time, right, to get through the next couple of weeks with grading and stuff like that. But certainly reach out, and she will be able to give you more individual stuff about your student. So thanks for joining us. Have a great night. We're gonna stay until you leave. So if you want to stay and ask a question, you can.
Thank you. It was really nice meeting you.
Yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate it, and putting some faces to names. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Take care.
I just got to try to figure out how to remember to stop the recording there, Allison. All right. You're good to go. Thanks, Allison.
No problem. Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.